We are approaching 100 days of the second Trump administration. My next guest is a Trump surrogate and working on his own run for governor. Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Florida, Byron Donalds. Byron, good to see you, and thanks a lot for being with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Congressman, our new poll with Washington Post and Ipsos finds Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating of any president in 80 years. That's since approval polling began. And I imagine you disagree with that sentiment. So why aren't the president's policies connecting with voters so far?
Well, look, first and foremost, let's look back on the first 100 days and compare it to the previous administration. The border is now closed. We're sending home criminal illegal aliens. The president campaigned on both, and he's doing it. You have now a 3-day ceasefire in Ukraine. You have the hostilities in Gaza coming to an end. Those hostages are going home. Gas prices are down. Egg prices are down. So a lot of the things that the American people were furious with the previous administration with, the president is now executing on. So I think when you look at polling, that's just a snapshot in time. Look at the last 100 days, all that President Trump has accomplished. It's been the same policies he campaigned on, he received a mandate on, and the changes are happening at warp speed here in America.
You talk about egg prices and gas prices. Let's talk about the economy. The president ran on turning around the economy, but now a majority of Americans think the economy has gotten worse since Trump took office. And a lot of that disapproval is coming from people who voted for Trump in the last election. What's your response to Americans who are worried about the economy and a potential recession?
Well, I think people were looking at the stock market from a couple of weeks ago, but let's be very clear. American businesses and America's economy has been taken advantage of for a very long time by China and other countries around the globe. The president is trying to reset global trade for the future of our country. That is a good thing. But none of this stuff is going to come easy. It's a work in process. Last thing I will say to the voters of America, Donald Trump's not an ideologue. He's a realist. He's going to look at the data as it's coming in and make the right decisions on behalf of the American people, which is different from previous presidents who saw our trade deals being taken advantage of, who would not enforce our trade deals to the betterment of American business, American workers, and American families. So you cannot just judge everything by what happened 2 weeks ago or so in the stock market. Take the totality of the entire agenda, and that's still knowing that the big, beautiful bill is going to get passed on Capitol Hill in the next month or two. We are going to get the job done. The American economy is going to be stronger than ever.
All right, Congressman, we've seen growing backlash to some of these policies across the country, especially at town halls. Republicans, including yourself, have gotten an earful from voters over the past couple of months, and they've been very contentious. But it's not just these town halls. Our polls found 57% of Americans disapprove of the work Elon Musk is doing in the government. Does Elon Musk have too much power, and why do you think Americans disagree with the changes that he's making?
Well, first and foremost, let's just say in these town halls, this is not indicative of the American people. These are Democrats. They're very organized. They're coming into town halls and they're screaming and yelling and carrying on, but they have no real solutions. Specific to the Doge effort and Elon Musk, we need to get federal spending under control, and it is not going to be an easy proposition. I guess we could do it the old school way, where you have a blue panel commission that never gets anywhere for 2.5 years, puts out a report that nobody ever sees, or you can go in and assess these agencies on the fly. At the end of the day, Congress has a responsibility to put into actual appropriations the cuts that Doge has identified. But if you ask the American people, away from all the hyperbole, they want to see our government be more efficient. President Trump hired Elon Musk to lead that effort. He has been leading that effort. Elon made the announcement he's going to be going back to his businesses very soon. But the mission of making sure our federal government is efficient is here to stay. We have to clean up the waste here in Washington, D.C.
But, Congressman, it's not just Democrats at these town hall meetings. It's also Republican voters who are pushing back.
Look, like I will tell you, I held a town hall meeting. I've held them for years in my congressional district. I knew who came in. A lot of Democrats. Those are the people that were coming in yelling and screaming, upset with everything, but have no solutions. I even brought up the fact that Joe Biden during his administration gave similar access to the access that Elon Musk has. They didn't care. They were just mad about Elon Musk. If you want to actually have our government become more efficient, wouldn't you want somebody that's actually run businesses very successfully in the United States to help with that effort? Or do you want it just to be the same bureaucrats who come up with the same political solutions that never get anywhere for the American people? I would rather have people come in from the private sector to help us do the right thing.
All right, Congressman, let's move on. Another issue where Americans have big concerns is immigration. The president gets some of his highest marks on this issue right here, but still, 53% disapprove of Trump's recent immigration crackdown. Now, borders are. Tom Homan was asked about that by our Diane Macedo today. Here's what he had to say.
I'm not running a popularity contest. I'm enforcing the laws. And by securing the border, like I said this morning, we have the most secure border in the history of the nation today. President Trump's policies are saving lives by the thousands. And that's something the American people don't hear enough about. And I think it'll turn those polls around.
All right, Congressman, so why do you think this is the right approach given what we are hearing from Americans, a lot of whom voted to put Trump back in office?
It's the right approach because look at the signs behind me. Illegal criminal aliens led into this country by Joe Biden. What are we supposed to do? Let them stay, victimize the American people? Do we need more young girls like Jocelyn Nungare and Rachel Morin who were killed or brutalized? Is that what we need? No. Donald Trump campaigned on securing our nation and sending home criminal illegal aliens. If the Democrats and the media want to now make a Kilmar Garcia the cause celeb, be my guest. But that does not make the American people safer. It does not make our country safer. We are following the law, doing it the right way. And if there are judges who want to disagree with that, that's fine. But we are going to follow the law and we are going to execute the law on behalf of the American people. That is what they want. That is what they voted for. And that is what they deserve.
All right, finally, Congressman, there is some tension in Florida ahead of the upcoming governor's race. Governor DeSantis, who cannot run again, is being investigated by the state legislature over whether he illegally used federal money to defeat a ballot measure legalizing marijuana there in that state. Do you think Ron DeSantis has been a good governor for the state of Florida? And what would you do differently if you get elected?
Well, first, specific to the allegations around Hope, Florida, my hope is that the governor answers those questions fully that the legislature has brought. Overall, Ron DeSantis has done a great job for our state from COVID-19 and ever since that point forward. But what I bring to the state is being focused more on business opportunities, diversifying our economy, finishing the job on Everglades restoration, which the governor started, and making sure that Florida remains the #1 state in America to live and to do business. And I also want to make sure our kids are getting a world-class education, not just the best in America, the best in the world. That's going to be the focus of my administration.
All right, Congressman, we'll have to leave it there. Representative Byron Donalds, again, thank you, and good to see you as always.
Thank you.
You bet.